almost 34 years. I'm from Detroit, Michigan, and I work in pre and post cardiac procedures.
What brings you to the Nurses March today?
Because I'm kind of one of those nurses that I'm on my way out the door in nursing, but I wanted to support the younger people.
Yeah.
Because we all deserve better.
I love being a nurse. It's been really tough, especially through the pandemic. Patients and their families kind of lost their manners during this whole thing. And I just got kicked the other day, so I'm ready to stop the violence.
Is there a message today that you wish all of our politicians or hospital leadership or the general public could hear?
If your loved one was in the hospital and couldn't be attended to, how would you feel? How would you feel? Because our patients live that every day, and they deserve better. They deserve better, and we deserve better. Like in my department, it doesn't matter how many nurses we have or don't have. They just keep adding cases and adding them and adding them, and we have no choice.
Just because you have an open bed doesn't mean you have staff to take care of them.
Right.
So what are you supposed to do then?
I'm from South Dakota. I'm a step-down PCU nurse. I've been a traveler for 9 years and total of 11 years nurse. Nursing has definitely changed since I started 12 years ago. Working all across the country, I've seen many unsafe situations. The cap on the pay, the hospitals made billions, and here they're trying to cap our pay, and also violence against nurses. We are constantly verbally abused by patients, family members.
So I'm happy and pleased to be here with the National Nurses March. As a former nurse of 22 years, now practicing law and representing nurses every single day, I am standing with these nurses asking for the 4 objectives, which is safe nursing to patient staffing ratio, no violence in the workplace, fair and realistic wages, and absolutely no caps on their wages. That is ridiculous. And 4th, no bias and discrimination in nursing.
There's just been so many times that we've been kicked, punched, threatened to be beaten up, those issues. Plus, I love my job dearly, and things need to change before I have to find something else.
Regarding your comment on the cap on the pay, what are your concerns for that, both in regards to our career, but also how that may ultimately affect patients?
Well, I think ultimately if they cap the pay, nurses will leave, and who's going to take care of the patients? Also, with the cap on the pay, our jobs are hard. We save lives, literally. So I feel like we need to be paid more. We need to make a lot more than what we're making. Not the travel nurses, but in general.
Everybody.
Nursing we need higher pay.
I'm from New Jersey. I'm ICU, medical ICU, and I've been a nurse for 4 years.
I'm from northern New Jersey. I'm a doctor in nursing practice. I've been a nurse for 24 years.
I am from the New York, New Jersey area. I work in CTICU at New York Presbyterian. I've been a nurse for 3 years.
And what's on your mind, and what brings you to the march today?
Change.
Yeah.
We need to change. Safe staffing. Pizza's not enough. And safe staffing, safe ratios, that's something that we definitely need. We complain to our administration that we need help on the units, and they say, oh, okay, we understand, and then the next day they try to buy us off with a pizza party, so we shut up for another couple weeks. We're not going to shut up anymore, and pizza's not enough.
Are there any stories that you would like to share from your time in healthcare?
I think with the whole pandemic, it was a very, very hard. It was very hard for all of us, and for the lives that were lost. I think we, as nurses, we do our jobs. We ran in, we saved lives when the world, pretty much everything was shut down. We were there taking care of families, and all the lives that were lost. It's very hard, very traumatizing for all of us. So I feel like just for the whole pandemic, the whole situation, being a nurse, we all came together, we saved lives, and now we need to be taken care of.
It's not okay to assault healthcare workers.
No.
That's not okay.
No. And being told not is also not okay.
Right.
Yeah. And I think staffing is like, there really should be mandated ratios. It really is an issue. Like, it's not safe for the patients, and just because we did it during COVID doesn't mean we should do it as a regular thing.
Exactly.
So, we all were fighting during COVID, and six ICU patients is not okay.
It's not okay.
Not okay.
Can you elaborate on that for the general public, what normal nursing ratios look like in that setting?
So currently for me, our staffing ratio is 2 to 1 patients, and that's if you're really short. But during COVID, we were up to 6 to 10 patients of ICU level care patients.
On ventilators.
Okay. Ventilators, prone, multiple devices, and people were dying because we couldn't get to them.
Yep.
And they're trying to do that again, 3 to 4 ICU patients per ICU nurse, and that's not okay. 2 is hard enough when they're sick. 1 is hard enough when they're really sick.
Exactly.
So 3 to 6 is not appropriate.
They're on life-saving medications, 3-4 medications just to keep their blood pressure stable, plus different things to keep them paralyzed, keep them sedated, and we have to manage all that, plus the ventilators, because again, respiratory therapists are hard to come by as well. So we become respiratory therapists, we become housekeeping, we become dietary, we become management, we become safety, we become everything.
I love bedside nursing. I love taking care of my patients. It makes me feel good. That's why I get up and go do it every single day. I love my job. It's been hard with the ratios, going to work and being safe, taking care of 8 patients, and not feeling like you did enough for the 8 patients that you scrambled around to take care of all day long.
We're from Southern California. I'm an emergency nurse at a level 1 trauma center, and I've been a nurse for 2 years. And then this is my best friend. She's a nursing student.
What brings you out to the Nurses March today?
In California, we have safe staffing. It's required by law that it's 1 to 4 in certain areas, 1 to 3 in others, 1 to 2, and it's inappropriate that it's not like that everywhere else. And 1 in 4 nurses are abused, and I think it's inappropriate that I have my work's hotline music memorized. Myself and a lot of people are going to be transitioning out of bedside if nothing changes. A lot of us are going back to school, going, as providers, so we don't have to deal with the bedside insanity anymore.
Absolutely.
A lot of nurses are leaving. So, I don't know.
Is there a message today that you wish all of our politicians or healthcare leadership or just the general public could hear beyond what you've already shared?
Put yourself in our shoes. If you're not willing to do this, if you've never zipped a body bag, if you've never, been in this situation, then you don't get to make the decision. You don't get to make these choices. You don't get to choose to cap our pay. You don't get to change the rules and the way that things are, or put us off to the side and hope that we'll shut up because we're not going to be quiet anymore.
Are there any stories from your time in healthcare beyond what you've already shared that you'd like to share?
My very first day as a nurse, I walked on the floor and I was training with my preceptor, and I had a patient that was angry because they weren't getting the specific medication that they wanted, so they punched my preceptor in the face. And we got pulled into the office and asked how we could have better handled that situation.
I just have
absolutely. Go ahead.
Say, as a prospective nurse, is one of the things I always think about is if that was your family member, would you want them to be one of your nurse's 15 patients?
Yeah.
Probably not.
What keeps you in this career, and what are your plans for your career if things don't change?
I love helping people. I like what I do because I save people's lives, and I get to see really cool stuff. In ER and trauma, I see people on the worst day, and I get to be like a shining light to what is possibly like the worst thing that anybody could ever go through. But if things don't change, I'll go back to bartending, make the same amount of money, and it's way more fun.